People are talking. Those of you guys that are not in Vegas, we see you guys talking about the Golden Knights. Not a lucky win. Golden Knights are going to beat LA every single game.
Oh, gosh.
Every single game.
You in sports.
Yeah, I love them. Okay, so we're not going to waste too much time. All of you guys that Tana just introduced me to on her IG, thanks for joining. My name is Justin, as she just said. I am an entrepreneur, fitness entrepreneur in Las Vegas. So I own some gyms out here. I do some online coaching. I also own some restaurants out here.
What's your gym's name? What's the restaurant's name?
The gym is Raw Fitness, and the restaurant is called Portion Control. And I also own a sports supplement line called Advanced Physique Nutrition. So we have sports supplements, and we also just created a new healthy nutrition bar. We can get into all that stuff later, but that's kind of what I do. I am an advanced nutrition specialist, so I do all of this stuff. Tana is somebody I look up to in the industry as well, because she, obviously, you guys all follow her. She's amazing at what she does. She cares about all of you guys, so I think that's one reason she threw me on here today to talk to you guys. You want to tell me what we're going to talk about?
So, Justin, I also respect you. Thank you for all those kind words.
Of course.
So, I've always looked up to him. He's always on his hustle, and we have a good belief about just a lifestyle, having a healthy lifestyle instead of always trying to struggle, constantly start over, all this stuff. So we're going to be talking about diet, how to find balance, and Justin, since he is a go-getter, he is actually doing the keto diet right now. So that's one main reason I wanted to bring him on. So many people ask me about keto every single day, and I've done it before, but I didn't do it for that long, and Mr. Go-Getter over here is doing it and killing it. So I wanted to bring him on just to see how he's feeling, how he's liking his results, and kind of help you guys. I think my page froze for a second. Hold on. Let me scroll down because I feel like we are getting caught. Yep, see, there we go.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay, so thank you for your fitness programs. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do just for a second, guys, I'm going to tell you a little bit about a very generalized idea about what keto is. I know that I get a lot of these conversations. I get a lot of these questions, and Tana does as well. So I'm going to explain a little bit about my education with it and why I'm actually doing it myself. And then you guys can ask questions and we can get into those conversations. But just give me 1 second to explain that, and then Tana will look at some questions, and we'll also look at some questions off my IG as well. So the keto diet, to keep it kind of simple, is what you're trying to do is you're trying to teach your body to metabolize fatty acids instead of glucose, so instead of carbohydrates. So what you need to do in that process is basically cut out your carbohydrates, increase your fat content, and have a moderate level of protein. Now, the interesting thing about this is it's a big thing in the industry right now because everybody thinks it sounds amazing, right? You can eat bacon, and you can eat butter, and you can eat cream cheese. For those of you guys that follow both of us, what you cannot eat is donuts. There are no donuts on the keto diet to start.
No wonder I don't like it.
You can't have any. So a lot of the questions come up with, okay, what does being on keto really mean, and what does fat adapted really mean? And they're two completely different things, because your body can produce ketone bodies without you being fat adapted. So you can still have ketones in your body without it running completely on that. So the main reason that I started doing it, as I said before, I'm an advanced nutrition specialist. So I've been studying nutrition for over 10 years now to a cellular level. I'm a nerd. I really love that stuff. And I've always been a big believer in a very, very like balanced diet. Good carbs, good proteins, good fats. And then some of the bad ones as well when you want that cheat. When you want the donuts or when you want pizza or anything like that. The issue is it's becoming so big in the industry, and I feel like a lot of people are just jumping at it and not completely understanding it. And this is one of those meal plans that if you do incorrectly, like it's not like the other plans where if you have a bad day or a cheat day or something, it doesn't screw you up. These are one of those meal plans where if you're doing it incorrectly and you're putting all of these other fats in your body, these polyunsaturated, these monounsaturated, these saturated fats in your body, and you're doing a lot of them, and at the same time you've got a high level of glucose in your body from the carbohydrates, you're really doing yourself an injustice. So it's really got to be something that's done properly. Now, I have never put myself through it because I'm an athlete. I love carbs, good and bad. But because the industry has blown up again about this, I decided to put myself through it so I could relate to people. Because like Tana, I think we both agree on this, we're not so much going to educate or teach people or guide people in doing something that we've never done ourselves. Doesn't make any sense for us to do that. There are people and coaches out there that do that. However, both of us believe in applied knowledge. We don't believe in that type of stuff. So,
sorry, Shane. I had
maybe
to
he's on
ignore your
there.
call.
Shane, hi, if you jump on.
Shaney.
So that's why I'm doing it myself. Now, I've been on there for about 3 weeks now, and I'm doing more of a documentary on it. So it's not just jumping out here and saying, okay, I'm going to eat high fats and no carbs and whatever. I went and got my blood work done because there's a lot of science studies out there, or at least the ones that we read, that say that it does certain things to your cholesterol, that it does certain things to your balance of your water, hydration levels, electrolytes, all kinds of stuff. Cardiovascular disease, supposedly it decreases in certain areas. So I have jumped in there and I'm doing blood work, and we're going to do blood work updates every 3 weeks and so on and so forth. So if you guys have any questions about keto, like I said, it's a very high fat, moderate protein, low to no carb nutrition plan. And I think, like I said before, the biggest problem, and I don't know if these are questions that you also get, but I think the biggest question about this is, some people are like halfway in and halfway out, or they got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. So they wake up and they have bulletproof coffee. They have butter and coconut oil in their coffee, and that's great. And then they eat some bacon and eggs for lunch and cheese, and they think that's great. And then dinner is steak, potatoes, and a glass of wine. So that's where it gets kind of contradictory there.
And I heard that alcohol actually throws you out of keto.
Yeah, so alcohol will throw you out of keto. Now, here's the interesting thing about alcohol, keto, carbs, things like that is the longer that you're in keto, the closer you get to being fat adapted. And that just means that your body has adapted the fact that you're burning fats now. So you can still have carbs, and it will kick you out of being in keto or ketosis, and then you can get back in. The longer you're in it, the quicker you get back in if you get thrown out, basically. Not to mention if you're an athlete, let's say for an example, Tana started doing the keto diet and following it, and she got pretty deep into being in ketosis, so on and so forth, and she started to feel like her workouts were starting to drain and they weren't what she thought they would be. And she started feeling weak. That's a sign that she can start actually playing with carbs, because you can still be in ketosis, play with your carbohydrates around your workouts if your body will allow it, and still do that. So you'll have to kind of put them around, structure your glucose intake around your workouts. So that's also a possibility as well.
Okay, cool. So do you guys have any, sorry, did I just interrupt you?
No,
Okay.
I was going to say questions.
So, any questions on keto diet? That is so confusing.
Yeah. No, it really is. And we were just talking about this before this. Keto it's interesting because the longest real study that they have out there is just under 6 years. And that would be like a real scientific study where they watch people do stuff. It's 6 years. So as an industry, we don't really know what the keto diet does for a very long term. Now, we can look at now if you go into a much more strict and you take if you go outside of the fitness industry into the medical industry where the ketogenic diet was created for epilepsy, their diet is almost 90% fats, and then they drop most of the other macros. It's in the fitness industry now because we've learned to adjust those percentages for our daily intake. And now we can, gain muscle or maintain muscle or whatever your goal is, whatever you're trying to do. But I was just telling Tana, it's probably one of the most restrictive nutrition plans because you've got to watch your intake of proteins and carbohydrates a lot, because it can kick you right out of being in ketosis.
Is anyone doing keto right now? Anyone on IG live right now? Tap those hearts.
Yeah. Sure. Okay, so we have somebody here with us that are reading your guys' questions so we can make sure we get to them.
First one is, are there good carbs and what are the good carbs?
Are there good carbs and what are the good carbs? So that's an interesting question because sweet potatoes, rice, all these things, they're still good carbs. Remember that those carbs are still good carbohydrates if you're eating a balanced diet. They're still really good. You do not want to eat any of those particular carbs when you're first transitioning into being in keto, because you want to make sure that your body understands that it's going to be running on fatty acids instead of glucose. Now, the good carbs, we can call them, for your keto nutrition plan is really going to come from vegetables, and the darker green and the leafier ones that are going to have more micronutrients in them and have more fiber content. Those are going to be the ones you kind of want to stick to. If you start eating potatoes and rice and all those good carbs that we're normally used to eating, you're definitely going to put yourself outside of being in ketosis.
That's a lot of great information.
Yeah.
People are
Impressed.
asking for your IG handle and also what's the benefits of doing
Are you
keto?
on hers or mine?
First.
Okay. Oh.
What's the benefits of doing keto
We should
without a
keep questions
gallbladder?
off yours. That's good.
Oh, yeah.
Say that again.
What's the benefit? Well, first your IG handle.
So, IG handle, go follow him.
So-
I tagged him in my IG story first off, and then
My IG handle is @JustinBlumFit.
And then the next keto question was, what's the benefits of doing keto without a gallbladder?
Yeah, so you got to be careful if you've got diabetes or a gallbladder. Those are issues that you seriously just need to go have a conversation with your doctor about. Diabetes being especially one with them. I do know, now to jump to the gallbladder, I do know some people who are doing it without a gallbladder, and I do know some people who have been told not to. So typically there's other kind of symptoms that will come along with not having a gallbladder, and you just need to talk to your doctor and make sure that this is something that you are okay to try and see how you feel, but definitely go seek advice from them. With the diabetes, that is something that you probably want to stay away from, especially you want to talk to your doctor, but you got to remember, like, with the diabetes, insulin is something that you're already having a hard time with. You're already struggling with your pancreas secretion, so you want to be careful with that. Again, you're going to need the glucose, right? That's where it all comes into play. So if you're diabetic or have issues with your gallbladder, go talk to your doctor, because typically you'll have other things going on that you might want to confront them with.
How much protein does keto call for?
Okay, so keto, with when you're talking about proteins, typically you want to stay with about 20 to 25% of your daily caloric intake. So to find that, and you guys that are all following me, you guys can reach out to me. Those of you guys on Tana's Instagram, obviously she's an expert with this and can help you find this, but you want to find your basal metabolic rate, right? And that just means how many calories does it take your body to burn just to be who you are, just to stay alive if you were just to sit around and do absolutely nothing and just sit here. If we were just doing that, we would have a BMR, and that just means how many calories we need to function. Then what you would do is you would find a multiple of that, so you would want to figure out what your daily activity level is, and let's just use round numbers, and we'll say 2,000 calories is your BMR, and you want to figure out, you want to add in that you do X amount of exercise. So let's just say that you need about 2,500 calories a day to do your training and just being alive. Then you would find out whether or not you want to gain, and I'll say gain weight, but we're typically talking about gaining lean muscle or losing body fat. And then you would either go on a caloric surplus or you would go on a negative caloric intake. And then that's simple. Then you just say, okay, I got 2,200 calories I'm supposed to eat in a day. 20 to 25% of those calories should come from proteins. 70 to 80% should come from fats. And that's strictly if you're doing a keto. And then the rest, 5 to 10% will come from carbs. And of course, those carbs will be more vegetable based.
So awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed that information. If we have any other questions about anything, feel free to go ahead and ask. It looks like some people are dying out. So
Cool. So that was just real quick, guys. Tan and I are also working on something that watch at the beginning of this coming week, Monday or Tuesday. We're going to tease about it the next couple days, but we've got a really cool thing, a little event that we're going to do here in Vegas towards the end of the month.
Yep.
Towards the end of the month. So if you're interested in what we're talking about, watch Monday or Tuesday. You can obviously send us a message, and we'll kind of give you a hint on that. But towards the end of the month, if you're in Vegas, you're welcome to come. If you're not in Vegas, you'll know at the beginning of the week if this is something you should fly out for.